Howdy, all Nimby here. Hey, K-Fish bro, good to have you in, mate. There you go. Just gonna do up some stimulators today. Stimulating. Gonna start with some burnt orange. In this case, it's rust brown. Sorry, my audio's flaring on me. There we go. Rust brown 6/0 uni thread. I always call it burnt orange because it reminds me of like a burnt orange color. It's a really good color though. I thoroughly like this thread. For the most part, I'm happy with just like black thread, but there's certain colors that just hit the spot, and this is one of them. And we're gonna bring it right back to the barb here, and a couple wraps just seal it in, and we'll get our tail going. So for stimulators, it's mostly, well, there you go, got one on my shirt. That's pretty much what we're doing. For the colors though, these come in different. Hey, thanks, Ewas. No worries, man. Maybe we'll see you later. I'm gonna be on here for quite a few hours, so if you get some time, drop in again. Otherwise, we're always glad to have you in, even if it's a short time. And good to have you in too, Ron. Yeah, so for the first part, we're going to start off with his tail. We're going to do, I just had a hankering to do some kind of orange fall colors on these. I find they're the most productive anyway. So we're going to be going with these, this really nice kind of burnt orange. Very similar color to the thread, as you can tell. And that's going to be our top one. Then we're going to do this marigold gold for the body. And these are a type of acrylic. This one's an old acrylic sparkle yarn, so it's kind of before Antron and all that came around. It has a lot of UV fibers in it. And this one here is just a really heavy-duty acrylic yarn. It's the same type you'd use for doing like a punch wool rug. So it's extremely durable. Floats. Not super well, not as well as like Antron or Zelon or whatever, but it still floats. It's a poly yarn. But being that it's durable and everything, it just adds that little bit extra to the fly. I'm gonna take off a good chunk without going overboard here. Yeah, this is gonna be our body color. You can switch these up. You can make them whatever you want, really. If you Google this pattern, you'll see people are tying it in all sorts of different shades. Generally speaking, though, you generally want a lighter shade for the body, slightly darker shade for the head, and most of the heads go on more of the orange to red spectrum. But there's no real right or wrong way to do this. It's been tied and retied so many times. The original one is more of the orange color I'm using for the head for the body, and then a kind of orangey red, not quite a red color for the head. And a lot of people also tie these with a, I'm just going to separate these here. But most of the people will do these with a dubbing body and a dubbing for the head. And that's perfectly fine if you got some dubbing kicking around. I have lots of punch wool yarn, and it works a treat for these. Since these are both not really a dry fly, but intermediate, they will somewhat float when you cast them out, but they're a bigger, heavier fly. The fish will nail these. Yep. So a lot of people will call the orange yarn a laser yarn or a star yarn. It was really common back in the 70s when it was released. Just give me a minute. Once I get this all untangled, we'll be good for several flies. So I will just ask your cooperation for a minute while we get this going. Well, this is going to be a color of our body. I really like this like bright yellow marigold. I find it really pops. Makes a good sight yarn too. You can see it really well. And for whatever reason, this color is fishy as all get out. It just always works. So we're going to be tying this on a long shank Aberdeen number 6. Most of these are tied on a 6 or bigger. You can tie them smaller. I definitely have, and they do work quite well for a smaller trout. But the larger fly is the traditional one. So 6 plus, you can do like 8, 6, all the way up to a size 1. They can get fairly large. Again, for the deer hair, you can use elk. Elk's was the traditional one. I'm going to be using deer. So I got 2 different styles of deer I'm going to be using. This one's closer to a mule deer. It's a little bit darker. And this one's going to be a little bit on the lighter side, like a nice light gray with these nice straw colored tips. So the straw colored tips we're going to be using for our overwing. The darker one we're going to be using for our tail. You can use the same for both. I like to have a little bit of separation between the two from mine. It's just a very subtle change. But yeah, whatever turns your crank and whatever you think looks good is perfectly fine. As far as the tail goes, we're going to be grabbing out about yay big. We're going to be cleaning this out, so you got to remember we're not going to be keeping all that. It'll be maybe 2/3 the size or so once we're done pulling everything out of it. Okay, just cut our chunk off. And I'm just going to be cleaning it before we stack it so that it will stack better. And I don't have to be super fussy compared to like we were the last one or we were spinning the hair, because it's just the tail. We really just want to make sure that this is going to stack right, and then we'll be able to roll it and get a decent tail out of it. And that's what we're looking for. We're going to thicken up the body a little bit with the tail material to help give us that thickness. But that's pretty much it, so just simple. Yeah, you can do all sorts. That's the fun thing about stimulators and other certain patterns. They really get they really work well for customization, and that makes them a really fun pattern. And they're just successful. They just work. So it's really hard to make a change on this that's gonna make it so the fish don't want anything to do with it. That's probably not gonna happen for you. So we got our tips. You can see there's a little bit of fuzz on the front we're going to clean off. Pull those guys out. Again, I'm not really worried about how stacked this is or how... Okay, and the one thing I do want to do is if you put it against your hook like this, you can flare them out and you can see your broken tips. Like there's one right there. Probably see it against my black shirt a little better. You can see that one white one. Normally they'll be sticking out as a lighter color, but being I want a nice tail, I'm going to pull those guys out. But besides the broken tips, not a lot else you got to do here. Again, if this is optional, if you're putting this in your own box, or that's too fussy for you, then yep, just don't worry about it. It's all good. A couple broken tips up there are going to happen as soon as you hook up with your first fish or so. And hopefully that happens relatively quickly for you. Now, as far as the tail length goes on this one, it's not as long as some other flies that are similar. We're going to go just a little bit longer than our hook gap. So you can see there's our hook gap where I just have the finer points kind of sticking down past the hook gap, and that's right where I'm going to be tying it in. Some people like a really long tail on it, and some people shorten it right up, but I found that works the best. A happy medium. And I want to tie this right on top of the hook instead of letting it set. So I'm just going to do one soft wrap on it, and then a second soft wrap, trying to get the line back where it should be. There we go. And then after a couple more wraps here, I'll work that forward and we should be good. We'll just got two down here that are being boogers, so we're just going to pop those off. There. Okay, and light wraps forward will stop it from, as I pull on it. I was going to say, if you do light wraps forward, it'll stop it from flaring as much. I want to have this as a light flare on the back, so I'm just going to do very light to medium wraps as I'm working back towards where we're tying point on that again. If you're using cow elk, you won't typically get as much flare as this. The specific bundle apparently is extremely flary, but that's what we want. I want a nice like cone-shaped back, so I'm gonna get a little bit of pulsation off that when we're stripping it forward, but not enough that it's going to interrupt the overwing. Thank you. I generally find the easiest way to do this with the body here when it's flaring all crazy like this, you can really just go at it and just, yeah, I obviously don't have that tied in enough. Let's try it. Let's get that fixed. It slid on me, so obviously I don't have this in tight enough. Dab of super glue is pretty common for a lot of people. You can use some rosin, you can use a little bit of head cement. That'll stop it from doing that. I'm just going to do some light wraps and try and capture it. Come on, buddy. There we go. Keep the witch's broom handle thing going down. And feel free to do this and then come back and tighten it up after as well. All depends how much time and effort you want to spend on getting it right. I only need to get it up to about here, and I'll bring it back. On the way back is where I can tighten things up, and that'll stop it from spinning. And just want to keep those medium wraps at the end there, or you'll flare your tail. There we go. Yeah, he stayed pretty good. I got one broken piece right here. There. Okay, so she looks ugly. Or not ugly, but she got a whole punk rocker thing going on, so we're going to take this. One thing I've seen some people do, if you're really short on hair, or like again, this is just for your box and you don't much care, you can actually just take this, throw a thread dam in front of this and just pull it back like that. You can see it'll make a really nice wing. So if you're just using this yourself, the fish don't care. And I've done some this way for kicks and giggles. And you can see that it makes a really nice wing as it is. So if you want to just stick with one bundle of deer hair and you just want to tie these fast and dirty, that is definitely an option to get that done. You won't have the pretty nice little end pieces, but it'll make a really nice yeah, I mean, if you're short on hair or many other reasons, right? And you just want to... Oh, did I nick? I did nick my thread there. That's not good. Let's get that fixed before it goes unraveled here. My bad. Thankfully, we can fix that up pretty easy. I didn't think I was getting that close. You're going to get some looser wraps, you can see them in here, since we tightened up on the way back. They shouldn't cause you any problems. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit better than we got her. The other option, instead of building up the body with the tail material here, you'll find this will keep it together a little better. But if you don't want to go this route, you can just cut it off and do the tail. You want to do it about to here, about mid-shank. If you go too far back, you're going to end up with too much of a step there. But that should do it for you. Hey, PNW. Good Devian, man. So I like to keep it roughly about like so. You have a few options for the hackle. We're gonna do a couple different styles. I'm gonna be doing a few of these up. The more traditional one basically just uses... Thank you. Yeah, the most traditional one just uses your regular grizzly hackle. As time went on, people moved to a red hackle for the body and a grizzly for the front. You can do really whatever you want with this pattern. That's the nice thing about it. I'm going to be doing this orange, or this nice red hackle for the body, and be switching over to the grizzly for the front, at least for these ones. And I'm going to also be switching over to... There's a couple ways you can tie it in. You can tie it in... I like to tie it in with a chased copper wire, so we're going to actually do it that way. Actually, no. You know what? For this one, I'm just going to do it the traditional way, which was without the copper. I prefer the copper myself. It just adds another level of durability. It adds a very small amount of flash to it, a little bit of weight, and just makes it a little bit more robust. And I want to start this. I want to stop it just before. You can see there's like maybe... It'll be easier for you to see if I pull this up. About 2 thread wraps to the end or so there, because we don't want to interrupt that tail. If you're tying your material in too close to that tail, it's going to flare it, and it's also going to move it. Right now it's sitting nice and on top, and that's the way I like them. Some people will sink their tails into the body a bit, just, you know, wiggle it down so it's in line with the hook shank. I like to have them a little bit up so that it gives it a little bit of match with the wing. So we're going to pop this in here. Yeah, so for this one here, I'm going to be just doing this one traditional with the hackle tied in, and then we'll just finish the hackle up front. So to do that, I'm just going to find... This one's actually fairly low. Okay, so we'll go about here. Find the web. Cut the web off. Save those for legs or whatnot. There. I'm going to be taking a little bit more off the top with the nice side facing me, then the bottom. I'll have a few more fibers to it. Nice thing with this setup is you can tie in a rather large rachis on this, so you don't have to worry about it pulling out. So you can see I got a nice good sized rachis to tie in there. And that leaving that little bit less off the top of the feather is going to allow me to have about half a wrap to a wrap before we start going around, so that it will have a nice clean wrap. Okay. Okay, we'll probably get 2 flies. This one has a little bit of damage. You can see it right there. I'm not too worried about it though, because I think we'll probably be done wrapping by the time we hit that damage section. And it won't make any difference really either way. Okay, I'm gonna under wrap this one. Well, that depends on the fly. If it's M&M or Snoop Dogg. If it's dry flies, you gotta be a little bit more high like Snoop Dogg. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this fairly flat, and I might slightly wrap slower here just to fill in that one little section I had a dip. I could have filled that in with some thread to start with, but we got a fair bit of freedom with this type of yarn. One more, I'm gonna back wrap that. So we get that a little thicker right there. And yeah, I'm hand wrapping. You can definitely use the rotary. Couple wraps to secure that thread in. Around, secure it again. I'll do that a couple times here. It's going to get buried in by the top wing, so I'm not terribly worried about it, but I do want to make sure it's secure. So the other way, the way we're doing it this way is we're going to be wrapping it forward. The major difference that most people are going to find doing it forward or back, as far as having your the hackle for the body, is it'll slightly, for the most part, it'll slightly change the direction of your the direction the hackle fibers are going to be facing. So see here in a second. And we'll compare the two. We'll do one way and one the other. You can compare the very slight differences between the two. There we go. Okay, and to start off with, I'm just going to lift my hackle up. Bend it slightly at the rachis. Just slightly, mind you. So we got about a 90-degree angle there. And I grab some small hackle pliers just as a safety. I don't think I'll need them though. We may get 2 flies out of this one. I want to start my wraps not right at the tail, but a little bit away from the tail there. You can see it might be easier once I get this started here for you to see that, but we'll go back and I'll show you here in a sec. I want fairly open spirals going down, so about a bodkin width and a bit maybe. So we want that body color to show through. I'm not trying to do like a crazy fuzzy woolly worm here. It's a little bit different that way. And it's okay if you trap any fibers at this point, because that whole area is going to get fixed up, but I'm going to try and trap as little as I can. There we go. I try to finish my tie-off point here in the front. So you can see here, if we rotate this back, you can see when I started the tail, I may have actually been slightly farther on the tail than I would have liked, but I want to have about a bodkin width from the body wrap. You can see there's a nice hollow there. If you're too close, and this part here doesn't matter so much, but if you're too close to the tail, when you start wrapping over, it has a tendency to roll onto the tail, especially without the cross wrap, but we're going to do the cross wrap on the second one. But you just want to be mindful that you want to have at least a bodkin width there for your first wrap around, so it's much less likely to slide back across on the tail. You can see here that each one's about a bodkin width, give or take in between. So you just want to keep that spacing. The point I was saying is when you're doing it this direction instead of the other, you can see all the fibers point forwards just very slightly on that angle. It's not a bad thing at all. It actually adds more pull to the fly. When you're stripping it in, it'll move more water. So if you're doing this one in still water, that might be a better option. If you're fishing like creek, river, or something where there's going to be a lot of flow, this might actually cause it to move around a bit in the stream more than you might have liked. So the next pattern, or next one we do, I'm going to do the hackle facing the other way. And hopefully you'll get to see both options here. Very, very, very minor, slight detail. You probably wouldn't even notice if it was in the bin at the fly shop. I'm just going to nuke these two little guys here. There. Could have easily just trimmed those off, but not going to. Okay. The other thing I try to do, it's not necessary, it just helps in a lot of cases. I finished my hackle off right here on the side. You might be able to just see it. Instead of finishing it off right on top, it's pulled over a little bit. When you finish your hackle right on top, it'll get covered by your overwing, but the downside of that is if there's any bump there, like you have your half hitch or whatever going on right at that spot, it can kind of push your overwing one side or the other and not give you a really flat, even spot to tie your overwing in. So it can be a bit of a concern. So just habit, I've gotten in the habit of tying mine off closer to my side of the hook. You can see it, I can see it a little better there as well. Okay. Some people will take their scissors and just clip this top maybe third or so here, so the wing will sit a little cleaner. We're not going to bother with that. Now for the wing, I want to try and get some that are fairly nice here. Just from being in and out of my package, there's some that are slightly damaged right there. So I'm just going to pick a side from those. It's kind of a 6 1/2 dozen the other deal with whitetail for the wing. Elk is a lot more friendly and will give you a nice wing without having to deal with as much flare. And you'll get that nice creamy straw color. Thank you. Yeah, I added about another 50 or 60 tracks to the playlist, so we'll have a little more variety than we did last week. I'm not sure if this one is one of the new ones or not. I think it might be. Okay, same as the other one. For this one, I want to clean it out fairly well because I do want it to stack nice. It's a little bit more important than the tail. Tail can be a little off and no one will ever know. Lots of nice fluff in there. Been meaning to save this fluff for dubbing for a while and I just never do. It makes a wonderful, if you want like a dirty, sticky dubbing for nymphs and stuff. Or just to add to your dubbing, like if you're making a lot of synthetic dubbing and you just want to add a little bit of soft, natural play to it, that's a wonderful way to do it. It doesn't cost you anything. You're just tossing it anyway. Downside is it's, a little bit extra work and can be a little pain to deal with from time to time. Okay, so there's our tip. You can see they're all crazy size. We're going to go toss it in there. We should hopefully have a nice straw looking tip wing once we get this all stacked up here. I may have to remove some of the shorter ones, but I think we're okay on length. May have a few short ones in there. If they fall out, they fall out. We'll be fine. Hey Yoshi, good to have you in, man. We're just gonna tap this down here. If you guys are enjoying the stream and you like stimulators, fly fishing, fly tying, or just the outdoors in general, feel free to drop a like. You can subscribe if you like this kind of thing. We're here almost every day. Generally more in the mornings, but I'm going to be going late tonight. Getting a bunch of these guys done up. I'm going to be doing a lot more tutorial stuff for the first couple flies here, and then once we get into a good groove and most people have seen it, we'll switch to just doing more tying and bullshitting. I see I do have a couple broken fibers in here, so I'm going to pull those out, just like with the tail. Just going to give it 1 or 2 more quick brushes. It doesn't look that bad. This is not as bad as the Appalachia whitetail that I got, but it has that really nice, there's the broken one right there, perfect. So you can see the broken one sticking out. It's got the blunt end, it's all white. Again, if you got a few of those in there and it doesn't hurt your feelings. Nice. Yeah, it's a good way to spend a paycheck. Okay, I think we're good. So as far as thickness goes, I like to have about, we generally kind of term these as pencils, because it's hard to measure them any other way. So the thickness, it would feel like if you're holding a pencil in your hand. So this is about what I would consider half a pencil. We want to have this going back to the tail, but only about halfway onto the tail. So about here is where we're going to be. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm just going to give it a little doop doop, just to see if there's any loose stuff or any small guys in there, they would fall out. But it looks like we're good. So again, I'm going to measure, going to go right about there, and then we'll tie that guy in. And same thing, want to keep it kind of right on top. And I'm just going to repack this. And you pack it kind of like a snowball. Yeah, we got a good little group in here today. Feel free to just say hi all. I'm good with that. Sometimes it's really hard, you want to say hi to everyone, and it's really not an easy thing to do at times. But it's not a bad thing. We're all here to hang out and enjoy each other, so. Okay, I'm going to do right about here. I think we'll be good. Hey, wee man, good to have you in, man. So I'm doing 2 soft wraps, keep it on top like that. And a third just for good measure. I'm going to slowly do some very soft wraps down. And I want to stop right about here. And I'm going to do the opposite, go up. As I go up, I'm going to be increasing my tension. That'll hold it in place. Go over top of my previous wraps. We should have a nice tight wing once we're done here. And then just some real soft wraps up top. And we're just going to kind of meld those two together here. Soft wraps up top will take the tension off the lower ones. I should be able to let go now. There we go. Nice wing right on top. If you want more flare, Those medium wraps is you just want to start to tighten down on those. You'll get the hang of how much tension to put on. Every hair that you're tying in is going to be different too. So most of the time, like every session you sit down, like even with this one, I wasn't 100% sure how much tension I needed there, but you get the hang of it after a while. And if you're using the same batch of deer hair for all your flies, it'll get better as you go. This is a wonderful one to learn. Not only is it fun, like I said, but you can change this one up all sorts for whatever works for you, right? Whatever colors you can do. Green and red if you wanted to. You could do purple, you could do blue, you could do pink. There's so many I've seen online that are just all over the place, and that's what makes it really cool. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting in here. I'm going to be getting my, the easiest way I found is get the bottom of your scissors against the hook point, pulling back by the eye, angling up, just being careful not to hit your thread. We're going to take this off in a few chunks. Yeah, wife got me this shirt. She's got good taste, eh? Not just in the shirts. Okay, and it's going to be messy, so kind of got to just go with it. I meant to save this, but I already threw it in my trash. But I'll save these cutoffs here, and I'll stick them in a little, like a film canister like I got here. And I'll just save them in there, and then you can pull this out and restack it pretty quickly and use it for like muddler minnow heads or stuff where you're just, you don't need a lot of deer hair, but you just want something really soft like this that you're going to be spinning. I would really only save this for something I'm going to be spinning. But yeah, you can save this for spinning hair after. And you don't have to waste it. And it's the softest, most easiest part to spin on the whole deer skin, so it's good to save it for that. Yeah, I mean, it can be a little messy, and even if you end up throwing away 20% of it, it's still 80% that you didn't waste. Because good deer, like especially like whitetail belly is, in certain times of year can be kind of hard to come by, because you're only getting it harvested a couple months of the whole year, so right in the middle of summer and stuff, it can be kind of hard to come by. Okay, I'm just gonna wrap my thread back. We're gonna burn some of that out. I want a little bit closer to the that shank than I wanted to, so, or to the eye. So I'm just gonna be moving this back, holding it in place, and we're gonna wrap it down, and then if there's anything left, I'll burn it out, but we should be good. Now this is where I'm using like good firm tension all the way up. I'll stop about a bodkin width in front of that and leave those medium wraps there to hold that in. If I could find my elk, maybe we'll do up some with elk and you can see the difference between the two. The elk is a lot more straw colored. It's a little more consistent. It has a different texture to it too, where this is very kind of, I don't really necessarily want to say limp because it's not limp, but it has a different texture to it anyway. I'm just going to pull my thread back, hold it with my fingers. I'm just going to nip that. Just a quick little. That'll seal the ends. There we go. We're going to be covering this all up with that yarn anyway, so we're good. Could actually even almost do like a thread head with this one because the thread is such the same color. Alright. So next most important thing tying is going to be our hackle. I'm going to be cutting it down a fair bit. We'll probably get a few flies out of this one. We're not going to need a lot. I might even have a spare one laying in here that's going to be the right size. Well, for this one, we'll use this one here. So we only need maybe 3 or 4 wraps out of this, so I'm going to say like down to like here. So like that length will probably be more than fine. Your mileage will vary. Hey, no worries. You jump on that math, man. I used to like algebra, to be honest. I don't know why, but it just seemed to make sense to me. Okay, I'm gonna be tying this in right up to the 2 wraps from the end, and then come back. Yeah, I loved algebra. I don't know why. A lot of people hated it. I'm not really sure why people hated it, but it seemed to make sense in my head, so it was easy to do. So again, we got this really nice orange sparkle yarn. It's got all these little UV hits on it. When it's outside in the sun, it just glows. It's wonderful stuff. I don't need a whole lot of it either. I'm just going over the head. This is really just for the got myself a little tool caddy. I keep trying to remind myself to use it correctly. Because I'm so used to just putting my tools off the side on the bench. So I'm trying to get in the habit of actually putting my tools in the caddy. There we go. Now again, this can be like anything from a pink to like a rose color to a red, like you name it, whatever tickles your fancy as far as this color here goes. I really like this burnt orange. It just works so well around here, so that's what I'm using. We just want to make sure that we're leaving enough room there for a thread head at the end, just a very small thread head. This whole area here is kind of the head of the fly. It is kind of representing like a large caddis. So they'd have quite a substantial thick head with a lot of little feet and feelers and everything all sticking out. They're kind of a messy bug. We'll get a number of flies out of that yarn. Gonna do a couple wraps there just to hold that in place. And we'll get this one here to get this grizzly going in. There we go. Wonderful. And unlike the other one, I want to do my first wrap just completely right up top on this side of the head material, or the thorax material, I guess would be more accurate. So one whole wrap there, and then I'm going to start going forward. And same thing, I want to have it spaced out in such a way that I can still see that thorax material really well. So not this one I like to have a little bit shorter than bodkin width, but basically about the same idea. Yeah, P&W said hi to you, mate. Why is P&W gray? Dude, why'd you go gray? Yeah, I had you modded, didn't I? Yeah, YouTube can be so fickle with that kind of stuff. Let me fix that for you once I get this head done in so I don't lose it. Pacific Northwest Outdoors. At least I just call them P&W. It's easier for me. Come on, man. You know who he is. Okay. You wouldn't do such a thing. Here, let me fix that up for him. I'm not sure what happened there, but it's not the first time that's happened. Huh. Weird, it told me that I can't make him a moderator. What's going on? Let me try again. I've never had that happen before. Okay, see if that worked that time. There you go, welcome back, man. Okay, I'm gonna throw a couple half hitches in there, make it all happy and secure. So we're just gonna use our super secret, expensive dead metal pin. There you go. I've done that with a few people where I had to. It wasn't Vilgrams. Who was it now? Yeah, tell me about it. My beard's evidence of that for sure. Can you go bald first and then gray? I guess technically you can. But you can't really be gray if you don't have any hair. Maybe semi-bald. Okay, that looks good. Just a few right up front there I want to zap. Or get this whip finish going. Just those two. I'm a little leery to pull on this one because it's right where I tied the racus in. Either way, that's your chunky head stimulator. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I hit the camera there. Let's get that straight. There we go. More tea. My throat's fighting me with all the explanations. There we go. Hey mate, good to have you in. Yeah, I did. I was just like, I'm gonna steal his fly. He doesn't deserve it. Yeah, that's such a fun pattern. Yeah, you can have it back when I'm done, eh? Yeah, well, there's one little fiber there. I really wish I pulled it right in front. Yeah, it's a fun pattern because you can modify it like so many different ways. Throw your own little mark on it. Match it for your local waters and hatches. Yeah, it was a happy accident. I wasn't actually thinking about that when I threw it on there. Wasn't really planning on doing stimulators today, but here we are. Still got two little fibers coming out front. That's the only downside. Well, it's not really a downside. Just something I find with this pattern is I tie a lot of junk up front. Yeah, I'll be here, man. I'm gonna be here for several hours, so I'm not going anywhere. Feel free to pounce out and back in if you need to. Yeah, Stimulator. Yeah, see you in a bit, Bella. We'll be here, man. Say hi to Dad. Just gonna zap those two little guys up front. There we go. Larry V. Probably could have cleaned that head up a little bit. It's a little chunky, but we'll see how it goes once I get some head cement on there. That thing's gonna float like a cork with a wing like that, though. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a ridge there I could have filled in on the head, but I mean, that's me being pretty picky. I think it'll be fine once we get some head cement on her. Some people like their heads on these to be a lot longer and torpedo shaped. Some people like them like super stubby, like right up to the edge. Whatever turns your boat. If you catch a big enough fish, then technically this will turn your boat, I suppose. I'm gonna get this in there. That will melt the wax, give us a nice. That'll differentiate the head. Yeah, you keep working on that goal, man. You'll get there. You've been doing really good. It's good to have longer goals like that because this is a marathon. It's not a sprint by any means. And every single sub you get is a small little victory. And as long as you keep getting them and like the number keeps moving up over time, that's you're doing it. That's all there is to it. That's it. It's that simple. Just gonna do a little bit of Sally Hansen's to stiffen that up, just a whiff. And that'll soak in. And that color change from the acetone in the head cement will help us differentiate our head there. I wouldn't say lower, just realistic, right? Like, I don't know, every YouTuber there's ever been always dreams about the whole going viral and getting 1 million views or something on one video and a whole bunch of free subs. But the problem with when that happens, like, you watch lots of videos, because there's plenty of them on there when that happens to people. Well, I'm not joking though. Like, there's plenty of videos where that happens to a creator, and they get all excited, and they get the views, and they probably get monetized off of it, which is one benefit, but it disappears as fast as it comes when that kind of thing happens, right? And then all those people don't come back, or they slowly peter out, and then you're left in the exact same boat you were in when you started. So it's much. Are you getting storms there? We're good right now. We were supposed to get snow today, but it's still grass outside, so no snow yet. Got a little, I think I got just a whiff of head cement in there, so I'm just going to make sure that's clear. I can see through it, but just to be on the safe side. There we go. I think we're good now. Yep, that's exactly the way to be, man. You'll sleep better because you can't control it anyway. And like I said, as long as you're making some, like you're getting a couple a day, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to remember, like if you were to do this and you were in like a stadium and there was 100 people watching you, like that's a lot of people. I'm happy with that. So there is like we were saying, there's a couple different variations of this you can do. The original one, as far as I can tell anyway, was just tied with just grizzly hackle all the way through with elk hair. The red here does differentiate from the top a little bit, and then the grizzly makes it look a little bit messier because they are a messy bug up front. They got lots of their legs and everything just kick out all over. A lot of times they'll have a shuck stuck there and things like that. Big old wing. Wing could be a little, not like it's not straight, but it's just not, I don't know, just not as symmetrically pretty as it could be, I suppose. Yeah, I'm happy with that guy. There you go. Classic Stimulator. We'll do a little spin and spiel on that, and we'll do the next one. We'll make those changes on the next one here so you guys can see the differences. There's no right or wrong way to do these. They each have their little ups and downsides. So, 1 second here. And the vise today, we have a Stimulator. This is tied on a size 6 long shank Aberdeen hook. We have some mule deer hair coming out the back for the tail. We have some white-tailed deer coming out the top for the wing. We have a yellow, like a marigold yellow acrylic wool going all the way up for the body, wrapped up with some nice red hackle that's segmented all the way up, palmered up to the front, where we have a grizzly hackle front for the thorax head area, and some nice burnt umber, burnt orange thread with some head cement for the front there. Wonderful pattern. You can do these up in many different colors, combinations, and that's one of the reasons these flies are so popular, is they can be changed up so frequently to match your local lakes and waters. And then you can make them in different sizes, all the way from a 12 all the way up to a 1 or a 2. This would be a 6, so somewhere right in the middle. It's probably the most common size would be a 6, 8, and 10. Yeah, wonderful little pattern. Should definitely have a couple of these in your box in different variations, sizes, and colors. Wonderful little thing. Thanks kindly. There we go. So we're going to add him to the little box here. Get 5 of these guys done in the same color, and then we'll switch up. I think the head's probably dry enough for that guy. Hey Luca, just did up a Stimulator, gonna do up his friend here so he's just not lonely. Oh, there's one. Get a few more going here. I'm doing these on silver. Darker color hooks work fine too. Yeah, I'm happy with the body color. That's my standard coloration for these. It just works so well. Not classic necessarily. It's close to the classic, and it would probably have been dubbed with dubbing. Sorry, just trying to get that guy straight. There we go. That's nice and straight. Hey, Luca, good to have you in, man. So same thing. We're gonna go with the mule deer for the tail. Go for the same amount, so about a little more than 1/8, so between an 1/8 and a 1/3. About yay much. So about the size of a gap height when it's spread out. And we're gonna lose a little bit of that too, so always grab a little more because you can thin it out. It's a little harder to put it back in after. Okay. And I'm just gonna clean this out. Hey, no worries, Liam. Always good to have you in, mate. You'll get those 500, and I'll be there when you do. Good to see you, man. Look at all that fuzz. It's a good way to get all the broken and short ones out. Which isn't really a big deal for the tail, but we do want to get as much fluff as we can out so we can stack it nice and tight. Again, not as important as if you're stacking or spinning the deer hair. That'll do. What I'm going to do for this one is once I pull it out of this stacker, I'm actually going to cut this off and I'll save this for that, for the hair, a spinning hair little container that we were talking about. Might as well. Well, actually, never mind. I'm going to be tying this in the whole body length, so that's not going to work. I'll try and save it when we trim that part off. I do a little bit less explanation per go here because the last one. Yeah, no, I like Liam's videos. I think he does a great job. He'll get there. Especially now that he's over that 50 count, so he can actually get some streaming in, that'll help. So I'm just going to pull these ones with the broken ends off. Let's see a few of them here. There we go. There's actually quite a few broken ones in that bunch, more than I was expecting. And we're going to pack this like a snowball so we can get it nice and circular. And all those fibers are binding into each other. And then we're going to remind ourselves that we didn't even tie our thread on yet. And we got ahead of ourselves with the tail. I'm going to try my best to hold this in my fingers while I get the thread done up. It's a good idea to start your thread at the point you want to stop your where your thorax and your body's gonna meet there. It's just a visual marker for yourself. And a couple wraps back just to secure it all in. That'll do. Yeah, 100% my fault in that case. Now this got a little bit on the mussed up side with me doing that, so I'm gonna restack it here quick. My fault, but it should only take a second to fix. Better than dropping it everywhere anyway. There we go. That just shows you it doesn't matter how much practice you get and you're still going to make simple mistakes all the time. And that's all good. That's what we're here for. Alright, so we want this to be, like I said, the gap height, but like with the tips past the gap height. So just a little bit more than the gap height. Transfer that over. Do a couple soft wraps. Try and hold it up on top. Or to get your thread over on your soft wraps. As soon as you see it starting to flare, stop. Back down around, tighten it. As soon as it flares, stop. And I'm gonna do a third one here and just move forward. Okay. And just to make life easier on me, I'm gonna slowly wrap this together here. There. I don't want it to do what it just did where it twisted. I want it to be bound down in place without it twisting, so I'm gonna have to work that twist back. See how it's twisting like that? I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna have to come back. That's good. That'll keep it all out of my way, and we can get this part done in. So again, medium wraps here, and just tucking in all those loose fibers as we go up. And then just looser and looser as we get closer to the edge of the tail here. It all depends on the hair you're using, how much of that you got to really worry about. You should end up with a nice poofy tail right on top like that. This part here wants to spin like crazy on me, which I'm not terribly happy about, but it is what it is. So before we do that, I'm gonna try. So if you trim it first and it messes up on you, then it's gonna be a world of pain to try and get it right after. But it's also easier to clean it up first. So I'm gonna try and do that here. And of course I put the cap back on my container. Silly Nimby. Okay, and we just want to bring this right back to our thread point where we tied in at. Again, it makes a really nice little, like in thirds, right? So we did 2/3. It's like the first third is where we want to have our wing and everything start. That's going to help us build the body, so our body's nice and, well, thick enough. Not necessarily thick, but thick enough. So I'm just going to do medium wraps coming through here. Again, I want to compress it. I don't want to spin it necessarily. If I can get these tips bound down like so, it's messy, but it'll hold it from, it will stop it from spinning. And I'm going to do medium to heavy tension wraps going back now from that point. That will keep everything together, but bound down. And all of our old wraps are going to be loose, but as we do that, it should tuck them all in. And we'll get closer to the tail, and we're going to loosen up for this last bit here. We don't want more tension back there. So the tail's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be bound in all the way along here. You can save yourself a lot of pain and trouble when you're learning this by doing a little bit of super glue on that before you wrap in, and or head cement, but you got to wait longer on the head cement. Downside of doing that though is it will make it into a sticky mess if it goes sideways on you, because then you got an adhesion there. So it will help, but if you got to recover or it does spin on you, it's going to drag that adhesive, you know, through the whole fly and muck that right up. You can recover from it, but it'll happen to you. Just tie some, throw some glue on there. You'll see what I'm talking about. Then you'll decide maybe you don't want to use the glue. Maybe you do though. All good, wee man. It's that time of night, eh? Just almost dinner time where I am. Okay, so we got that in. So with this one, we were gonna do a different tie-in than we did on the last one. I'm gonna throw in a little bit of copper wire. In this case, it's just gonna be this nice soft copper. This is a really old spool, but you can still find similar. Soft wire and copper in small from Uni. They don't make this anymore, unfortunately. However, this is the exact same wire gauge and wire that's inside higher quality headphones or telephone wire. So if you have the heavier telephone wire that you'd like bury outside or run through your house, that's rated for being buried outside. I have a bunch and I'm going to do a video on it. It is, especially if you can find the older stuff, because it was just better copper back then. It was softer. A lot of times now it's just repurposed. Well, not repurposed, but when it's recycled copper and it's remelted down from other stuff, you get different. What's a good way to explain it? The temper of the copper is not even when they do recycling, because you'll have chunks of copper from all bits and it's all melded back together, but it's never quite the same. Just like if you're dealing with car door panels and stuff, you can tell on a Toyota a lot different than you can on something that's virgin steel. But, you know, I'm all good with recycling. That's just the matter of the fact. So, what we're going to do, it's not likely that this is going to pull out, but a good thing to do on these, if you are going to be using it to tie in something like a hackle, and you're going to need to put some tension on it. For the first tie-in bit, and we can tie this in the length of the body so we can do a nice big chunk of it, just crimp it in your hemostats like that, okay? Nothing crazy. Don't have to go all super gorilla strength on it. Oh, it's all good, Luke. We got a bunch in here today. And hopefully the camera will pick that up. I think you can see it. You can see it leaves those little teeth on it. And so it acts almost like a Velcro. So when you're pulling back on this, your thread will catch into those real nice and stop it from being pulled out. It only takes you a second to do that. It'll save you a headache at some point when you pull your copper out. Especially when you're getting closer up to the tail here, we don't want to change the tension, which will change our tail flare. But we do want to have it tied in firmly, so it's a little balancing act there. Okay, so we're going to tie that all the way in, put that in our material clip. I got way more than I need. I might actually cut some of that off, but we'll see how it goes. It's all good. Okay, we're going to tie in the yellow. All the way back again. I'm tying these in on my side out of habit, but as long as you're tying them in even, it shouldn't really make any difference any. 3 or 4 wraps there, and then back. Okay, get that up in our material clip again. Now we're going to get the body done here, and then we're going to go back to that hackle. We're going to use the same hackle we used last time. Well, for the last one, I'm just going to use this end of it instead of the whole thing, or just the remainder of the hackle. Should be enough to get to the back, I figure. Okay, so this is going to go over or under and over, and when we do our counter wrap, we're going to go the other direction. Just want it to thin out for that first wrap so we can make a little change there in that tail bump. So I'm going to be tightening up the wraps here to counter for that. Minding that hook point. How many times that's tripped me up. The hook points on these Aberdeen hooks, this particular brand, are like ridiculously sharp. It's not a bad thing, but I need to remind myself they're there sometimes. I've caught myself a few times. We just want to have a nice, even body segment here. Yeah, thread's been kind of harder to come by, except the type of thread I like to use anyway. Like, I get it a lot in the green spools. Do I have any green spools kicking around? Yeah, it's like, I can't remember the amount on it, but I like to buy them in the 200 yard ones because they just last longer and it's a better deal, right? But they've only been carrying like the 75 yard ones recently, and it's like, yeah, kind of want the bigger ones. But again, I need to do another video on. You can actually buy uni thread in bulk by like the couple kilometers, pretty inexpensively. I think it's like 24 bucks for a serger spool, which will be enough for your lifetime and probably your kid's lifetime. So if you bought 3 of those, one in black, one in white, and one in brown, because it's the only colors they offer it in, then you'll be set for life. And you just have to re-spool your spool. Yeah, well, it's a GSP, right? So it's pretty hard to split a. Oh, my bad. We were doing the. I was just looking at the grizzly. We were doing the red hackle for the body. So, did I keep that? I don't think there's enough. No, there's not enough. Okay, we'll have to grab a new one here then. No big deal. And I'm just gonna pull that down so we can find the web. So right about there. Okay, so the difference with this one is it's going the flare is going to be the other direction, and then we're going to tie it in with the wire. So that's going to give us, yeah, I mean, if you don't mind spinning your own spools back up, it is definitely the way to go. And the other thing with it too is that's what Davey McPhail uses. He uses bulk UTC, which is actually made and spun by Gutermann thread. And I have the model numbers written down. I want to say 486, but I could be wrong. I think it's 4 something anyway. And then the model number. You can order it in bulk. But one of the reasons I know he uses that is he also waxes his thread. And if you buy it in bulk, it's not a waxed fly thread. It's just a regular fly thread. A regular thread anyway. Okay, there we go. Probably could have pulled a few more fibers. I might get a few sticking out a bit odd here. So I didn't thin it out as much as I should have. I don't think it's going to matter anyway. Yeah, yeah. It's Gutermann's the company. Do I have any kicking around here? Got some old German, but nothing that says the brand on it. Either way, I'm going to do a video on it so that people can order their own in bulk for the people that want to. Because yeah, it definitely saves you some money. So you can see when I'm moving it this way, that the fibers will point the direction that I'm palmering for the most part. There's a few techniques. Ooh, almost lost it there. I better get my Hackle plier. These red ones are a lot slipperier than the grizzlies. But there's a few benefits to doing it this way, in my opinion. It's all personal preference, right? But there's a few things I like about doing it this way compared to the other. Yeah, and it's not like a true split either, because uni has a singular fiber that goes around itself. So it's not like a true split, but it's doable. Okay, so I got that cut off. I'm just going to let this hang down here. And hopefully you saw that I got the copper wire going down. I'm just keeping direct tension on that. And this is why we wanted to... this is why we wanted to have those serrations on it to stop it from pulling forward or pulling out. And if you're really worried about trapping fibers, you can do a little zigzaggy deal. But honestly, I find just wrapping and trying to get it nice and even seems to work just fine. And again, we're going the opposite way that we were going with the body material. So in this case, I'm going up and around, so away from my face, and with the body material, we're going under and towards my face. So it is fairly important that you get that right. It is not as important to get it one direction or the other. It's just important to make sure that you're getting it the opposite of whatever the other one is. So that's a good... Yeah, what did I get caught on? There we go. Sorry, caught on one of my material clips, of all things, ironically. It's like, no, that's not your home right now. Stop it. Yeah, it's important to make sure that you get that, well, backwards, or however you want to describe it. It's not as important as to which one is which. It's good to get in the habit of doing body material like towards your body and down if it's easier for you to remember that, and for piping or wire or hackle the other direction. But as long as you're getting it the same and even every time, it don't matter. So whatever works for you, whatever you can remember, whatever feels natural to you, so you're not fighting it every time. One fiber's kind of being booger there. Okay. Hey, how's it going? Good to have you back in, he was. Okay, so now we got that tied in. Now the benefit, and again, this is personal benefit, not that it's actually written down as a benefit anywhere. Yeah, they'll do that sometimes if it's like they've been really hitting the medical stuff. Probably actually better not to even talk about it in the stream, to be honest, but anytime any medical stuff comes up, they actually talked about it in the creators newsletter, was it 2 weeks ago, I think? But it has to do with possibly giving wrong medical advice or what have you. So I'm sorry about that, man. We'll just leave it out of the stream for now, though, because they seem to be targeting that. And I hope your dad does as well as he can. There we go. Okay, so we got our copper done up. And we were wrapping around, which way are we going? Trying to remember towards my head. Okay, so we're gonna bring this the opposite direction here, and that's gonna work hard in that point. And then back this way again, and then back this way again. And that should pretty much do it. And then just sometimes you'll have to keep your tension on your, keyword tension there. Keep tension on your thread so it doesn't move around, and then you should be able to helicopter it off. Oop, why are you wrapping, man? Just do the thing. There we go. This one takes a little bit more to work harden because it is a soft copper. But once it does work hard, and it comes off rather good. Okay, so again, we'll go over some of the benefits there of doing it this way compared to the one we did first. One of the main benefits that I see from this is it makes it way more durable having it wrapped in soft copper like that. It adds a little bit of weight to it, but I mean, that's pretty minute. But it does add a little bit of weight. But having that copper wrapped around the hackle there is going to stop it. If you get some sharp fish teeth coming in here and cutting your hackle off, it's just going to stick up a little bit. It's not going to completely come undone on you. So you can get way more fish out of one hook with that one little technique. The other difference that you'll notice here too is that the hackles are facing this way. So if you're fishing this in a creek or a river, it's going to be a lot more streamlined, and it's going to follow instead of fight, which might be a good or bad thing. Really depends on what you're trying to get out of it. But it's going to follow the current and the eddies and everything in the water more than it's going to fight them. So if you're fishing in a current, having things more streamlined back like this, you'll be able to follow it and get it into the riffles and get it into the little shallow spots a lot more easier than if it's the other way. Yeah, hopefully your Pops is doing okay, man. Well, if you're able to get anything posted, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. So. Yeah, it's hard, man. I've had a number of family go through it. Thankfully it's something that's been done over and over and over again, and they're quite good at it now. Okay, so we got a nice little flat ledge here to tie our deer hair into. Then we got this whole front for the nose. So for the deer hair, we're going to switch over to that whitetail. It's got a little bit lighter colored straw tips to it. From the people I know that have gone through that, and I've known quite a few, the natural vells typically end up giving less problems. I don't know, Jackson. Depends what the fly is. I can probably recreate most anything. But I mean, that'll have a lot more meaning to you because it would be your first fly. Hey, Ethan's Lures, good to have you, man. Oh, this is a Stimulator. It's not really classic pattern. This was done kind of in the, when was it done? Like 70s? It's not super old pattern. It originally came from Well, here, I'll show you guys the kind of the original pattern that started with, what's her name now? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man. We all start at the same spot. This is called a Falk, and this was the kind of original pattern. Um, what's her name? AE. My brain's going on me. Anyway, this was a Falk that was similar to this one, and kind of people changed it, and eventually it became the Stimulator. But this was the original. Um, this was the original pattern to it. Thanks for subscribing, Jason. We're here most days doing fly tying. Welcome to hang out with us, and we're here to learn and help each other. So these are all Falks. Did up a whole quirk full. They're gonna get go thrown in the box. They work just as well, or in my opinion, better, especially if you're doing like brook trout and stream fishing. The Falks just seem to float and nail stuff a little harder. And yeah, that's the original pattern. Alright, so we're gonna get the wing tied in here. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked showing you guys the other fly, but that's all good. Stimulator is kind of the evolution of that fly, making it a little more buggier, a little more caddiouser, and less attractant. Okay, got all our tips out there, nice and bright. I got a few broken pieces in there we're going to clean out. Again, the wing is the part where we want to make sure it's fairly clean. Well, that's pretty much what I do with all the flies. Well, I got lots of feather and I got lots of hook, man. So we can do that another time here. Be happy to do it for you. Right now I'm going to finish the stimulators up though. Okay, so we want this to land about mid-tail. So I'm just going to keep packing this. The most important spurt to pack is the spot where you're tying in. Oh, good. Yeah, I was watching, I missed his stream and I was kind of kicking myself about it because I forgot he was Eastern time and I showed up Pacific Standard Time because, you know, that's my time and that's what just what my brain was telling me. But I missed Rob's tie there where he was tying in bucktail, but I just finished watching it this morning again because I was watching pieces of it earlier and watching him fight with the bucktail. And it can be a fight when you're starting out new, for sure. There's a lot of little nuances to it to get it to work just the way you want it to. And even then. Okay, so we're going to get this guy right about here. Well, thankfully, we just changed our daylight savings time, and I never have to do it again. This was the last time in British Columbia that we are doing daylight savings time, ever. So, hopefully ever. I don't want to see them go back to it, but they finally decided to get rid of this stupid thing. So I don't ever have to set my clocks back again. And I'm perfectly okay with that. It's like, yeah, exactly, yeah, just after 4:30. Okay, so we're just going to do a light wrap on top. I'm going to pull down on it until I see the top there just starting to flare, and then stop. Okay, I'm going to keep my tension on the line. There's no tension down here, see? Bring it back up. Tuck it around. Yeah, tell me about it. One thing that's shot on me is my hips. Yeah, I know, but they finally... Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons the only reason we were staying. Yeah, exactly. But we were only really staying on daylight savings time because of all the business we did with California, and they wanted to stay on it. But now with all the tariffs and everything and the lack of more business down there, they're like, oh, we may as well just switch and not do it again. And I was like, woohoo! Because to me it makes like 0 sense. It's like, yeah, it's like the one thing in the world that you want to be accurate on is timekeeping. It's like the one thing that you don't want to mess around with is what time is it? You know, it's like that's the one thing that should be accurate and not just change because it's springtime or whatever. And I can understand if they need to make modifications to it like a leap year or something because they want to keep the calendar correct, but when you're just doing it as an old habit, that's dumb. Hey, good for you. First 50 is the hardest, man. Once you get 50, you can start live streaming with us. Thanks. So I'm being careful here because I don't really have that tied in very well, and I just want to get this. Yeah, we all got it, man. We knew what you meant. Okay, I'm just going to rest my scissors in here. Let that loose. Get this back. Try and cut this off here. There we go. It's just such a silly thing, like, you know, if you're gonna muck something up, you may as well muck up a lot of other things. But yeah, now we go visit my mom in Arizona. We can, yeah, live streaming is a lot of fun, man. I understand why they hide it. I understand why they hide it behind a bit of a, well, I want to say paywall, but it's the wrong term because it's not a paywall, but you know what I mean. I understand why they hide it behind the 50 subs is because people could just make new accounts and just, you know, whip up a few subs and do some kind of not with the community guidelines stuff, if you know what I mean. So I understand why they need to do that. But yeah, you get your 50 subs, you can live stream to your heart's content. Okay, I'm going to do some really tight wraps at the base here to hold that all together. And then we're going to go lighter until we're up to medium wraps up top here. That should hopefully not change our wing. And back down. There we go. One thread wrap. That's acting up right there. Hey, that's cool. Good for you. You gotta remember too, like, when we're all talking about numbers and stuff, if you were in a room with like 100 people and doing whatever it is you do, you know, that's a big deal. Oh yeah, sorry, I got off track there. Yeah, it'll just be nice to have the time change, the time the same as Mom in Arizona, because Arizona doesn't do the time swapping at all, right? So they're always, whether we were springtime or not, or whatever it is. Brain's not working. Whether we were observing the time change or not, they weren't. Alright, so we're gonna use this guy. Just gonna check the size on him. He's just the leftover piece from the last one. I think he'll be good. Yeah, he looks like he'll be fine. There you go. Yeah, so the same thing. You know all about it. Hi, you're from Arizona? Cool. Welcome in, man. We got a few good fishermen from Arizona. Yeah, it seems to be a weird central hub for a lot of things. Like U-Haul trucks all come out of Arizona. Alice Cooper's from Arizona. What else? That gemstone was found in Arizona. That's like a diamond, but not. Starts with an M. Something mer. Mer. It'll come to me. It's okay. Okay, we'll get a little bit of that orange tied in here too. Really? Cool. Yeah, it seems like a lot of things are from or around Arizona. Just interesting and cool at the same time. Have to keep reminding myself to use this tool caddy. Yeah, we got a. It actually was discovered in a meteor, but they found a way to make it synthetic. So. Okay. So again, I'm gonna be wrapping this, yeah, towards my head. And the hackle's gonna go the other way. Had to think about it for a second. I'll give us a nice orange spot there. We just need like 2 or 3 turns. I don't want to crowd our head there. Okay, there we are. And again, I'm going to pull this, crease it just slightly. Probably could have pulled a little more fibers off that. Going to be grabbing it with, I think for this one, although I should be going by my better judgment, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use the rotating hackle plier. We're only going to need like 3 wraps out of this. And the first one we want to get right along that edge with a medium tension to help hold that wing in place without flaring it too much. And the second one just a little bit of ways from it. Hey! How's it going, Jack Pepper? Good to have you in, May. Yeah, if everyone's enjoying the stream, make sure you drop a like. That'll help share it out to everyone else. If you're new here, like Jackson, you can drop a sub, and I really appreciate the subscribers. We're here almost every day, so feel free to drop one, and we'll see you on the next one. And Jack's from Arizona, which is super cool. We like Arizona. Yeah, Jackson just subbed. dropped my half-hitch tool. That's good. I'll try this other one. I'll grab that in a minute. Well, he's new here anyway. I'm sure he's been around because he's got, 50 subs or so. Oh, I missed your stream, Jack Pepper. I'm sorry. But for all the other ones that showed up, thank you for watching his stream. I appreciate that as well. We all gotta support each other. I missed Glacier Shark's stream this morning too. I probably could actually wrap that up a little more, couldn't I have? Maybe I should. Now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, I think I will. We'll try and see how it goes. It's all good. Let's see if I can catch that in under here. It'll look a lot better if I can. Yeah, I like it too when it behaves itself. It seems to catch itself more often than it is smooth, unfortunately, but when it does work, and it works well, then it's a nice feature. Well, if that does end up letting go, it's tied in just before it, so it won't be a big deal. Yeah, so this is called a rotary hackle plier, so I'll get it more in frame for you there. You see it's basically just a pivot so that this little eyelet spins in there with that little ball bearing, and then it has another pivot point. And the problem is it's pretty much, but you'll see it'll catch, like right here, I can't move it anymore. So like there's certain angles where it catches on, like right here, and it just won't move. And when you're in the middle of twisting and you hit that angle, oh, it's frustrating. So, oh, is Villa in here? Hey, Villa, good to have you in, man. I'm gonna see if I can. One second, I gotta pick up my. Pick up my half-hitch tool I dropped. 3-in-1 oil. What is? That rings a bell for some reason. The problem with dropping tools and stuff on the floor is it's always like cat hair or something down there. Sticks to it. Yeah, good to have you in, Villa. Yeah, it's not a party unless Villa's here. I think it was originally a sewing machine oil, wasn't it? Like a machine oil for like electric motors, I think. If I remember my history. Alright, I'm happy with that. It's a little spotty in one or two spots, but I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's good for all sorts of stuff. I'm sure I have a bottle of it kicking around somewhere here. Yeah, I had like a not 3-in-1, but I had a Duralube that I used for all sorts of things for a long time. Oh no. Yeah, the ones with the thin wire on it, dropping them cannot be is not a fun time if they bend. Yeah, I still got an old bottle from my grandpa that he left in his toolkit, and like we would use it on all sorts of stuff when you want to penetrate a little bit, but it also wasn't too sticky, so you could use it on things like electric motors. My dog was being a whiny baby again. He wanted outside, and then he just stood there and whined to come back in so we can get a treat. Yeah, a lot of people use that for sure. That's another really common one. Okay, I got way more turns on that than I needed to, but I was just trying to cover that one section. Yeah, hops, was it 8 or 9? What is that again? It's been a minute. Hops 8, hops 9, isn't it? 9? One of those numbers. Hops number 9, isn't it? That stuff is really good for just cleaning stuff in general, like any kind of metallic surfaces. These two little hackle fibers need to just play ball. Keep wanting to be part of the head and not part of the fly. Hops 9, thank you. Part of my brain shouted 8, the other part shouted 9, and they were arguing with each other. Yeah, I'm happy with that big old messy stimulator. Guess if it looks anything like my shirt, it's doing good. Yeah, it's like a solvent. I heard you can make like your own out of, what was it, ether, automatic transmission fluid, and a few other things. Thank you. Yeah, it was somewhere in there. I got it right, kind of, sort of, at some point. Okay, we'll cut our thread off, do another spin and spiel. I wish I could remember the name of the person that originally tied this. I want to say AE Best, but I could be wrong. Probably am wrong. Because he did a lot more tying earlier, and he was from the California area. Really? Alright. I wouldn't really consider it complex. I mean, I've done some that are... I mean, it's definitely not, like, not complex, but, like, my salmon flies have way, way more steps than this guy. But he's complex for what he is, because he's just a messy old bugger fly. Getting all the steps in the right order with the right thread tension is really the main thing for this fly. If your thread tension's messed up, then you'll have all sorts of problems with this fly. But yeah, thread tension is super important when tying this one, because you wanna have a good tail. Probably just a little bit thick on the tail there. Oh, Davey does some amazing work. Even on simple flies, I love watching his work. He's like watching Bob Ross paint. Even if you don't like painting, it's just a joy to watch him work. Look at a little mound of animals we got down there. Okay, so again, I'm going to be putting this head cementing because I want to color that. I want it to melt that wax and give it that color. This will darken it up, and then once this darkens up, we can put the Sally Hansen on. That'll lock it all in. I like that slight variation in head color, just like a little darker. To me, it makes it, just gives it that little bit of pop, you know. So almost every insect has a slightly different color head, whether it's browner or darker or redder or what have you, depending on the insect. They're all different there, and I think that little bit of detail really helps to make a difference. More so than, say, putting eyes on it or that kind of thing. You bet. It's like George Foreman, just without the grill. That's hilarious. Maybe it was Bob. He's one of the people I would have liked to have met. Ah. Yeah, roosters have some pretty feathers. So we're gonna let that set just a bit here. I'm gonna clean up the head. Got one or two little flaky fibers going on there, but nothing crazy. Yeah, we're gonna stick a peacock hackle through there. Normally I just use a regular rake from a hackle, but in this case that's what I got on the bench, so that's what we're gonna use. And just rub this through any of the glue that is in there. I don't think I got much, but anything that is, I'll stick to that and clean it all out. I got a nice open eye in that case. But you can see that, like, just that little color change to that, like, darker red. I really enjoy that. That makes me happy. Big old messy stimulator, so it's basically a big old messy caddis. But it can also, I mean, it can dog. It can imitate all sorts of different things, from like grasshoppers to lots of terrestrials, big mayflies. Dental floss works really well, actually. I use it for a number of things. It's hard to come by dental floss that isn't mint flavored, unfortunately. Hey, we're going to do spin and spiel. I'll be right back with you guys, so we'll be back in a sec. And the device today we have a stimulator. This is a wonderful, really common and famous pattern that is basically a big old caddisfly. So you got tail on the back there is done up with a mule deer tail. It has a yellow, really nice kind of marigold yellow body wrap up, which is a acrylic yarn that is wrapped up with some red hackle all the way up to the top, with a white tail wing out the back. You can also use elk, because it's more common as well. I'm using whitetail in this case, and a grizzly hackle wrapped up around the front, and instead of the marigold, we have a nice burnt orange star yarn up front there. It was basically the predecessor to Antron and different things like that. And a little bit of a head on there in a darker color, and nice burnt rust orange from Uni ADOT. Wonderful little pattern. Should have a couple of these in your box. You can tie these in different sizes and colors, and whatever variation you want to have in your box is perfectly fine. These can be anything from reds to greens to yellows to even blues and purples if you wanted to. And this is tied on a size 6 long shank Aberdeen hook. You can tie this anything from a 12 all the way up to a 1. Really everything in between. A 6 would be your most kind of common size for this one. Wonderful little pattern. Add a couple to your box, eh? There we go. Let me catch up on the chat there. Thank you. And it just happens to be the fly that's on my shirt as well, so there you go. Thanks to my lovely, wonderful wife for providing me with the awesome shirt. Okay, we'll get a couple more of these guys done. Just adjusting some settings on the stream here. Thank you. So you can see, actually, let me get the other fly out because we were going to talk about the two of them. So the first one we did a different technique on putting it together. There's no right or wrong way for either fly. This one's probably your more traditional style. But this is the first one we did up. I'm going to just hold it by the tail here because the tail is going to be the same on both. So we'll go over a little bit of the differences here quick before I stick this in the box and we won't have access to them as easily. Okay, so on this one we wrapped our hackle. We tied it in at the base of the body. So I'm just going to use, here, I was going to use my scissors, but we'll just use the bodkin as a pointer. So we tied in our red hackle at the base here, and we made sure that we had room when we wrapped it around so it wasn't too close to the tail, otherwise it has a tendency to slide back over the tail. And we wrapped it forward, and by doing so you can see that the hackle fibers are angled like this as they're going forward on the fly. Where on this one, they're angled the other way, going backwards. So this one here is going to pull a lot more water than one of my fingers, the top one. When you're pulling this through, it's going to act like a bit of a brake, and it's also going to be slightly harder to cast, but very, very slightly. But if you're using this one in, say, an area where, like a stream, a river, or even a mouth of a stream by a lake, having the hackle fibers pointing forward, you'll notice a lot more drag on it. It'll typically kind of go all over the place, which might not be a bad thing, but it's just something to keep in mind. If your hackle fibers are pointing with the current, like this one on the bottom, you'll find that it'll follow the current more and it'll be a lot more natural movement through the water column. So this one could be a little bit better for you. Also, we wrapped this one up. We did it as we wrapped it the other direction. We chased it with the copper wire around the body. Not sure if we can see that if we turn it or not, but there's a copper wrap on there which is holding the hackle fibers in place, so it makes it not only more durable, adds a little bit of weight to it, but helps hold everything together. So after you get a couple sharp trout teeth digging into this thing, it's very common for your hackle here to pop off because it's going to munch it right about there, and your hackle will go pink and just like uncoil. But since it's wrapped with the copper wire, that won't happen. It'll go point, but it'll just be a little fuzzier in one spot, so you can keep fishing with it. So it makes it incredibly more durable, because if they chew up the wing, it doesn't really matter. And if they chew up the head a bit, it doesn't really matter. But if they chew up the body, it starts to drag and it gets really hard to cast and all that stuff. So in my opinion, this is the better style to go with, but it's all personal preference. So as you can see, a very slight difference in the two body styles. Your mileage may vary. You're more than welcome to go with either one. There's no right or wrong answer there. So we'll get these in the box. Again, for that little bit of extra time that it takes to wrap it with the copper wire, I would suggest it, especially if you're going like even on a woolly bugger, right? Like you're doing the same kind of thing, right? So even on a woolly bugger, if you chase it with the copper, you can't really see it with my filming lights here. The copper's not really picking up, but it does give it a really nice, I wonder if it'll show it a bit. No, it just doesn't seem to be catching it today. Some days it's really shiny, other days it's not. But that copper wrap too, it's not a lot, but it's just enough. If you're in a sunny day where it's clear out and that's coming through, it'll just be that little bit extra. Be just that little bit extra that'll help you hopefully get that fish to bite, that other things aren't doing. So those two in there, we'll get a bunch more done. I can fit 5 in that one. I'm gonna start tossing them in those because my corks are getting too full. I don't really have much room left. I ran out of corks. I need to peruse my wine drinking friends and get some more corks. Like, come on, guys, drink more wine. I need corks. But I should really be putting them into boxes like that so they're ready to sell or give away or whatever. Does make it handier to have a bunch. Actually, it wasn't that long ago. I technically sold, but I gave them away. One of our community members up here, and we're in a pretty small community, like under 2,000 people here. Unfortunately, came down with cancer, and we were all doing a kind of community kind of yard sale thing, bake off, whatever we could do to raise some funds for her and her family. And I sold, how many boxes of flies did I sell for her? Well, it's close to a dozen anyway. But I managed to get enough money for her family to have several meals out while they're, dealing with her medical condition. Because nothing's worse than having to deal with that and having to uproot your life. So it's nice to have things like that already pre-done. So if something like that comes up, I can just go, here, take these. But I was really happy to help her and her family out with that. I know it's not going to be life-changing, but hopefully that bit of money will help make that process a little easier for them. Okay, just going to bring this all the way back like we did with the other one. I'm going to go right to the barb. If you're not tying on barbed hooks, just where the barb would be. And yes, I generally do tie on barbs. I know I've had a few people ask me about that, and I generally tie on barbs because we have a lot of older fishermen here, and there's some lakes where I can use barbed in and I prefer to, and some lakes where I like to do barbless. And barbless is my preference, but if you leave the barb on, you can make that choice. If you take it off, you can't go backwards. So I normally leave it on and then just debarb it when I get where I'm going. Excuse me, let's get some tea in before I stop breathing. Good to have you in, Villigrims. You get any of your tomatoes sprouting yet, man? I know you're just germinating the seeds last time I saw. I need to start doing that, but we're still got snow on the ground, so I still got some time yet. I gotta start pretty quick here. I wish we were hot enough to grow tomatoes proper, but we're really not. Just don't have the heat for long enough. Okay, so mule deer for the tail. I'm gonna grab this all back here. Get that cleaned out. I think my amazing wife's gonna be making us buttered chicken tonight, which will be wonderful. I think it's good that people, like, even if you don't need to grow your own food, it's good that you know how. Saving seeds and germinating seeds. You ever end up in a tighter spot in your life, then you have the skills to supplement things. There we are. So roughly about a pencil. We want it to be, gap height, give or take. I like mine to have a big old fluffy tail on the end. Some people like them thinner. I just find it helps to float it a bit, gives it a nice pulsation, and this whole pattern's just, the whole point of it is to give, you know, as much oh man, I'd dig my whole yard up if I could grow brisket seeds. That's what Luke is for, though. He does all that for me. He's a farmer. Cattleman, I guess. Okay, so you can see there's a few broken ones in there. I'm not going to be too fussy on them, but I'm going to get the obvious ones out. Yeah, no kidding. Money tree would be awesome too, because then you could just buy the brisket. Oh, were you the one? Did you go to the fly shop or thrifting? Can't remember what you said. Okay, so we're gonna get that to be just a little bit longer than the gap height, right about there. Okay, I'm gonna start with 2 soft wraps just to help keep it on top. And then I'm gonna do some medium wraps down here. Keep everything together if I can. Last one wrapped pretty good. Again, we don't want to spin it, we just want to bind it down. Preferably on top of everything. You see it twisting there, that's what I want to avoid. But it's fine if it's a little bit like that, because I can always twist it back after. Okay, I'm going to do medium wraps. I'm just going to do in the middle here for this time. Did you post it, Yoshi? I'll have to check it out. Oh, that's a nice tail. Yeah, it's like me. Closest one's about an hour. And then all the other ones are about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Wow, that's spread right out. That's not what I want to do. Okay, now it's tied in enough. It's not going to go anywhere. It's amazing to me the... yeah, it's funny, like, the difference in fly shops, too, eh? Like, we got a number of them. They all carry like completely different stuff. Like I can't buy one thread at one of them. I'll only buy Simple Fly there. And the other one only has uni. And like same with other materials, it's all kind of the same. There we go. So I'm just saving the cutoff ends in there, and I'll stack those and I'll use them for doing like muddler heads or things where I'm doing a small spin, because it's perfect for that. We went over that already, but just touching base on it again. Okay, so this should end, yeah, right where my, you can see underneath there's my orange thread. I want this to end kind of right where my orange thread is, where the thorax is going to begin. And I'm just going to do some light wraps here, just to stop it from spinning as much. There you go. I'm just happy that we have shops still, to be honest. There were times where we had a lot more shops around here and they all closed. There were times where we had basically no shops for certain time periods. So I understand. Yeah, there's always some really expensive thing in there, right? They always seem to place it like vicariously right where it's gonna fall or something, like right by the tiller or something like that. It's almost like it's insurance. Oh, I'm loving that. That tail is just money. That's like smack on right where I want it. I like that. I like it where it's like, if I can get them, where it's basically flat on the bottom and flared on the top. And if I can get that, I know I held it on top of the hook shank just right. And I know the body looks all messy, but it's not going to make any difference because it's all going to get covered anyway. But when you're binding the hair in, you need to, if you want to do it so it doesn't drive you nuts, you need to do these soft wraps first, and then they're all going to get loose. And you got to go back with medium wraps, and you got to do the hard wraps on top that's going to bind everything right down. And if you don't do that and you try to skip, it's going to flare it. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen any reel that's over like 300, 400 bucks. $1,000 for a reel, that's nuts. Like two of my fly tying mentors, I remember I still have the reel too. It was it's a British reel. I want to say E&W, like Edward and something. Anyway, it was a very popular reel at the time. A very popular reel with all the professional fly fishermen and everything, and beautifully made, all one piece, handmade, all that stuff. Nice brass gearing and everything. And I still have it, but I saved up my money for it for months and months, and I was so excited to finally get the thing. And I was talking to like I said, my mentor, the fly shop owner, one of my mentors anyway, his name was Yosh, or Yosh's Tackle, if anyone's local and remembers that dude. I think he's long since passed now, unfortunately. But in any case, I was talking to him about it because I was super excited and I wanted to give him my business and buy it off of him. And he was trying to kind of talk me out of it, and he's just like, why do you need, like, he's like, the reel's job is only to hold your line. He's like, that's it. And he's like, you know, you can run the tension and everything with your hands. You don't need backing as much. Yeah, or one tax payment. Ugh, that's the thing, you gotta pay tax on it too. The government takes a good chunk of it. But yeah, he was saying, like, I should save my money and get more fly tying material, or better line, or something else, and not worry about the reel. And I can't say, like, I regretted buying the reel, because it was, you know, a point of pride, and I really wanted the thing. But he was right, it didn't impact my fishing at all. And I had, like, some really cheap reels in my time. Like, my very first reel was just straight up plastic. The whole thing was plastic. and it just came with a 4-piece cheap starter fly rod from Zeller's. It was my very first fly rod, besides like old hand-me-down ones that, you know, my dad let me use and that kind of thing. But that was my first one on a Christmas present that my mom bought me, and that reel did just fine. I never had any problems with it, even though it was like probably a $5 reel. But like I said, still enjoyed that reel, even though it was very pricey. But it was just like every time I took it out and spooled it up and everything, it was like a pride thing, you know? Like it was just like, it's like a well-tied fly, right? Like it's just, you can feel the quality in it, and it was just a joy to use it. And that might be like completely a selfish thing, because it's not necessary, right? But selfish or not, I still enjoy using the thing today. Like, you know, it's got me like 30 years of use out of it or so. But I mean, I still have the cheap plastic one like 30 years ago too. Yeah. But it was just funny, like, it wasn't funny to me at the time. I was kind of upset about it, like a little bit upset anyway, not gonna lie. Because I saved up for months to buy that thing. It was about 350 bucks back in like the 90s, so that's like a lot of money. And yeah, my fly shop guy was just trying to talk me out of it. He's like, don't do it, man. And I did it. I still have it. And I get his points. Like, his point was like, all it does is hold your line. It's not going to change whether you land a fish or not. And he was right. I never did. Not once. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, some of them obviously are going to be... Yeah. Actually, I was just in Walmart today, and all the ice fishing stuff was on sale. I don't either. I'm not really sure where they get that from. It's definitely not necessary, right? It doesn't cost them that much to make one, for sure. What were we doing? We're doing brown, weren't we? Yep. Oh, I can smell dinner cooking. Got some nice chickadees showing up and some bluebirds right outside my window here. Really enjoying watching them. The bluebirds hilarious because they're fat little guys. They wintered well. They're thick, which I'm very happy for. Oh, and we saw Mom Squirrel. I thought Mom Squirrel died this year, but we saw her. My wife saw her. I didn't manage to see her yet, but my wife saw her. She's been here since we, well, probably about 6 years now. And we thought maybe this was her last winter because, you know, she's getting older. And she's a big girl. But nope, looks like she's still around. Okay, I'm just gonna squish this stem a little bit. Oh. Yeah, she collects all our pine cones for us and our apples. I had a whole bin full of apples ready for like cold storage or cutting up and drying or that kind of thing. And I left it out there for a while. Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I don't think I will spend the money I spent in my youth, that's for sure. Not anymore. But you know, when you're young and you don't have to pay bills and stuff. Not like I didn't work for it though. I mean, like I said, I worked for months saving up for that thing. I actually sold a lot of flies to afford that reel. Wish I could remember the name of it. Not that it really matters terribly much, but I know it was British. Something Brothers. I'll have to look it up. Okay, so we're just gonna be wrapping this again. Nice open palmered segments. No worries, man. You too. Have a good night. See you later, Evaz. Thanks for stopping back in, man. Okay, just gonna capture this guy in. There we go. Yeah, it was nice of him to stop back in. I appreciate that. Everyone's got a busy life nowadays. I'm very happy that the most important thing that anyone can do for my channel is spending time, because time is the most precious thing we all have. Don't get me wrong, the super chats and the donos are all good and they help me keep things moving, but your guys' time is the most important thing. I've never heard that before. What are you talking about? It's just like any other hobby, right? Like, it doesn't have to be expensive, but it's going to be because it can. Just like any other hobby, you can make it as cheap as you want or as absolutely crazy expensive as you want. I've seen old guys out there with like rusted hooks and old bamboo cane rods and stuff, which technically is probably an expensive rod nowadays. But you know what I'm saying. They're in old leaky boats. Yep. I mean, the most important thing is just getting yourself out there, right? If it gets you out and you're enjoying yourself, it doesn't matter what you're spending, as long as you're enjoying yourself. Okay, so I'm going to hold this, keep tension on it, pull this the opposite direction and back again a couple times. That should work hard in the end. And it should helicopter off for us a lot easier. There we go. Bink. So that's a little trick for you if you're having trouble helicoptering your copper off. Yeah, I can understand the $300 mark because it's like kind of $100 per item. And it's like, I mean, you can justify like $100 line, $100 reel. Yeah, I was in Walmart, was it yesterday? And they had all their ice fishing stuff on clearance. And it was like, oh, this is tempting. But I'm not going to need it for like 6 months. But it's tempting. They had everything like 50 to 70% off. I picked up a bunch of hooks because they had a lot of just spare blank eagle claws and stuff. But they had all their fishing line on sale for that was classed as ice fishing line, but I mean really it's just fishing line. And they had all that. on clearance, and I was really tempted to pick up more, but it's like I got so much fishing line. But someone else is going to enjoy it, that's for sure. Someone's going to come in there and be like, dang. Okay, there, let's cut off that rear feather. So again, this is my preferred way to do it with the wire wrap. There. Yeah, that's the thing is Walmart can put a decent combo together. If it's gonna get you out fishing, you know, that's the important part. It doesn't matter what you spent on it. You can take pride in anything, right? It doesn't have to be a Orvis or something. All right, more tea. I'll get this one done up here. Okay, so for the wing, we're going to use the whitetail. This nice creamy straw top to it. For my wings, I really like to try and find the whitetail with that kind of straw color top to it. To me, it just imitates the wings better. I missed a couple. There we go. You can see all the tips are cattywampus, kind of all over the place. We're going to stack them and make them pretty after we clean all the fluff out, get all that under fur out of there. This batch of whitetail is not nearly. Hey, thanks for the subscribe. I'm just going to call you Will. Thanks for subscribing, Will. Okay, so it's all clean. As clean as it's gonna get. There we go. Right in. Okay, that should do. There you go. Nice tips. A little bit of fluff. And a couple broken tips there. Okay, grab them all together. We're gonna stack these, or bunch them. I'll make a nice wing out of it. It's important to bunch it so you're packing it just like you'd pack a snowball. If you live somewhere where there isn't snow, then I don't know, dough ball, mud ball, whatever else you pack like that. That just helps the fibers all align, so you don't have any that are going. It's totally the cat's fault. What are you talking about? Ah, I kind of budged this. Okay, I gotta stack that again. I pushed on it. See, it's kind of gone all over the place. Let's try it again. My bad. That was my bad. He did. He totally did. He eats everything, especially my dog. Yeah, these aren't clean tying flies, unfortunately. Just like the one we did the other day, that the caddis. What was it? Glad-free caddis, something like that. They're not a clean fly either. That made a mess. All right, there we go. Yeah, totally the cat. Yeah, when you're packing, you're just trying to straighten all the fibers so they're all going together. Nothing's crisscrossing or going from the top to the bottom. That helps to get everything nice and straight, kind of like a hoop. Missed a couple fibers there, that's fine. I have legitimately had my dog eat my homework at one point. No worries, Joe Flies. Good to have you in, man. Hey, K-Fish. Oh, I'm getting some smaller pieces dropping off here, but that's okay. It's gonna happen. Okay, so we want to have this mid-tail, so right about there. Actually, I need to move my thread up. I want the thread to be right up top here. Right here. Let's get that measurement again. Right there. Oh. I think my wife's making butter chicken tonight, and I'm super excited. Freaking love the nice spicy butter chicken. Okay, I'm gonna do soft wrap. Pull down. You can see, hopefully, fingers in the way. So you can see if I pull, you can see they're just flaring at the top there. So that's where I want to stop. Get another wrap in. Again, soft wrap. Down. Okay, I'm just gonna do some medium wraps here. Get that to sit straight. And then just walk. I didn't want to flare it like that, but that's good. We'll make do. Need to tighten this bobbin, actually, to be honest. I don't know, what's up with that? Man's gotta eat. I like watching Villigrams prepare stuff. Okay, so we got it right there. I'm gonna live on the edge here and let go of that. Looks like I can actually, looks like I need to go back quite a bit. I do. Okay, I'm gonna go back a bit, but I'm gonna cut this off first. Now I don't have a whole lot holding that in, so I gotta be careful here, or it's gonna spin on me. Well, didn't get the whole thing, but I got a good chunk of it. Really? Dang, that sounds tasty. I bet Valhalla could like just destroy some ribs. There we go. There you go. Oh, green sauce is tasty. Okay, we're gonna kill it with fire. Just remember when you're pulling the wax off your chest, you do it with the grain. Thank you, it's getting there. Alright, I'm gonna try this guy. He's gonna be long, but we're gonna try him. I'm gonna try and tie him in. I'm gonna do this guy actually backwards and tie the tip in here, because the back of it's a little bit on the thick side. So, there we go. This should work. I think I got enough left on this guy. It's kind of a bit ratched right there, but I think we'll make it. Yeah, that's good enough. Do. Maybe now. Alright, I'm gonna just gently palmer this back a bit. And I think we got enough in there to get this done. I just don't want to pull off a hole. I'm gonna try and do it without the hackle pliers this time. Dude, you're kind of twisting all over the place, aren't you? Yeah, it's all an act. In real life, I mug old ladies, make fun of puppies. Okay. Feeling like this wasn't the best idea in the world, but I wanted to try this hackle and see if it would work for this position, but I don't think this was the best idea. We'll make it work and get it done, but still, it's gonna look messy. Dude, that was a dirty hackle, but we got her in there. That was just like an old school, traditional, like farmyard grizzly hackle, and I just wanted to see, because it's such a short span, if I could do it with one. And like, we did it, but that nice hackle sure wraps better, even for a short distance. I'm gonna try and save a few of these fibers here and get the half hitch, push it over, because I could use those right here. That didn't quite do what I wanted it to do, but we'll try again. There we go, it's a little better. Try again. I need to wallow out this half hitch tool so it's just a little bigger. Okay, got those two in so the tension's off. Now I can use the bigger half hitch tool and push them all the way back. Upload time is a weird thing. Like, I've played with many different time frames, it really depends on your audience too, but like if you change your time frame, you're just going to change your audience that you're going to get, because they're either going to be there or they're not. So eventually you'll find your people. So kind of whatever time's more convenient for you, especially if you're doing it around like yeah, I mean like for Valhalla, like if you're going to be doing live streams and having your videos come off around the time that you would probably be available to live stream is probably a good idea. Because I've definitely gotten different, not a bad thing at all, but gotten different viewers because I've been doing a lot more morning content. And that's cool because those people are available in the morning, and if I had all my stuff set for evening, they wouldn't see it necessarily. So I don't know. There's no right or wrong answer for it though. It's all whatever works for you, right? Man, that's messy down here. That sounds so like badass military. My FPV. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, exactly. As far as live streams goes, you seem to get more of the random viewers at nighttime for sure. Just gotta get this tied in here. I let my dog out. 1 second, guys. You okay, doggo? I'll be right back, guys. There we are. I'm just going to try and clean up this part of the head a little bit here. Not too worried about it, but that's pretty chunky. There, I think that's a little better. Yeah, I tend to go, I try to go long one day out of the week, which normally will be, it's been Tuesdays for me. Which isn't always the best day, like viewership wise, it just works the best for me. Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to make a poll. YouTube has some really good information in the stats and the analytics about all that too, if you want to go that route. It'll always tell you different things, whether it's right or not, it's another thing, but it'll tell you. Okay, so I'm just going to do one more half hitch and then we'll do our whip finish on it. There you go. Come on, buddy. Got one like thread kind of sticking there. I'm hoping it'll get bound in a little bit. Let's see. There we go. Oops. I pulled on that a little hard. Well, it'd be really handy if you fell asleep across like your hackle gauge or something. You could have it like almost like a tattoo. It's like permanently imprinted. That's how you know you're hardcore, is when you got your fly tying measurements tattooed on yourself. Yeah, this hackle's like a little bit on the soft side. Just gonna fluff it out a little bit, but yeah, it's fishable. It's just not quite as nice hackle as the one we used on the first two. That's too bad. I was hoping that would work. Oop, let's fix that. There we go. A little more. Okay, just gonna get some glue on that. Yeah, you can only stream for so long and they'll take it down. Yeah, there's a limit that you can do. I don't remember what the full-on limit is. I think it's, I can't remember, 6 hours? No, it's more than 4 anyway. It's definitely more than 4 because I've gone 4. Okay, almost done this one. Just gonna let that set up for a second here. Hey, copyright strike for. You have music come on or something? Oh man. Come on now. Yeah, we don't have any snow yet. They're calling for it tonight, but none yet. Doesn't mean it's not gonna happen though. It's all good. Happens in my early streams too. Yeah, they seem to be doing that. Brian was saying that he was getting hammered with the strikes too there, so maybe they're starting to clamp down on it a little bit. I just play the copyright free stuff, so I don't have to worry about it. I know, it's frustrating when you see other people doing it and you're just like, ugh. Alright, that'll do. Just gonna brush out this hackle a little bit because I've squished it down. And we'll call it good. Yeah, she's a good little stimulator. I really like the tail on it. Kind of wish I went with the other hackle for the front, but we got it to work. I mean, it's still fine. But I just like the way the other stuff looked. It's a little more rooster hackle-y, you know? It's a little more stiff. A little better, much better barb count. These barbs are much softer. But it was still fish fine. Just the other stuff's better quality hackle, that's all. I was hoping for that small area I could just use a lower quality hackle and get away with it, but nope. Looks like not. I mean, depending on your standards, I suppose. Alright, gonna do my spin and spiel here, guys. I'll be right back with you. And the vise, we have a Stimulator. This is tied on a size 6 long shank Aberdeen hook. We have some bucktail, or sorry, not bucktail, we have some mule deer for the tail on the back. We have some whitetail deer for the wing on the top. We have some nice marigold yellow tied up along the body, and some red hackle chasing all the way up front, palmered, with a little bit of copper wire holding it in place as in counter wrap, and some grizzly hackle up front, with a little bit of burnt umber or rust orange thread for a uni thread up front for the head. Wonderful little pattern. You can tie these in all different shapes, sizes, colors, and variations on this pattern. And it's very universal. You should definitely have a couple of these in your box. A wonderful little thing. Add a few to your box. Thanks, guys. Well, you were asleep, dude. I've definitely, what was it, once or twice I fell asleep on a live. One of my video game lives I fell asleep on. So it happens to us all, man. Yeah, I'm going to be grabbing some food here too, so if anyone has any comments, concerns, questions, accusations, 18 minutes of hummingbirds, that's pretty good. It's hard to film hummingbirds, man. They're so friggin' fast. They're cool animals, though. Really cool animals. I half thought about throwing some, oh, I've fallen asleep to so many people's lives. I just consider that normal. I just consider that normal, because it's late and we all sleep, and at some point I'm going to fall asleep. So that's going to happen. Okay, so I'm going to cut the live here, guys, in a minute and grab some foods, because it's been, speaking of time, 3 hours. And it smells amazing, and I'm going to eat dinner, and then we'll be back in a bit. I've had to reset my, well, I don't know how else to term it, but reset my account several times. I don't like to use the term shadow banning because I don't think it's a real thing, but I definitely completely dropped like any push out from YouTube in several occasions. And I have no idea why, but it's happened several times over the years. Yeah, 3 hours is enough. You know, it's just like if you're working a regular job, you should be having a break every once in a while. And this is no different, right? I gotta stand up, stretch, get some more tea, do my things, play with my dog. Yeah, valid good lives. Like I said, it's like the whole term shadow ban. I don't want to use that. And resetting's kind of the best term I can use for it, but I don't really have another term. But what you want to do, or what I did, which actually made a difference because I tried all sorts of different things that made no change at all. I went from, like in case in this stream here, let me check my stats here. I think we're like over 2,000. Yeah, we're 3,000 views for this stream so far. And I've been averaging, 16 to 20 people a go, which is kind of normal for most of my streams. That's kind of par for the course, and it's pretty good. So about 1,000 an hour kind of deal. But for like a whole 3-week period, 2 to 3 weeks, I was lucky to get 12. and it was like it wasn't pushing it out to anyone. And it was right when it happened twice. Once when I tried to do the whole vertical horizontal live stream feature that they pushed out um, to Canada, and I really wanted it to work, and I tried really hard to make it work, but it's like there was none, no push out to anyone, and it's like it wasn't even going to my subscribers or anyone, and like I would stream for a couple hours and get like 10 or 15 people. Um, oh, just a few minutes, mate. I'm just yabbering here for a bit, and then I'm gonna be grabbing some food, and then I'll probably be back in an hour or two. See if I end up playing video games or not. But sorry, I'll get back to. Yeah, I'll get back to. Yeah, that one for Luca, that knife was awesome. Sorry, I'll get back to my thing here so Valhalla can hopefully do this and maybe reset his thing. So, like I said, I don't like to use the term shadow banning, but you know, that's what you search for when you get this kind of stuff. And yeah, Luca's knife is awesome. And what I did, the only thing I did that actually fixed anything, I slightly changed my channel name. I went through and I redid all of my tags, my titles, everything that was in the preview. I went and redid all my settings page. I changed my logo, like just slightly, and just made sure everything had some form of change to it. Whether it actually made any difference or not, you know, like just slightly change the wording, and then so that way the algorithm has to pick the channel up again because everything's different. And it was just like 2 streams after that, boom, right back up to 1,000. So it was like, it's frustrating because it shouldn't be that way. But that's happened to me twice now, so it's not just a one-off thing. It happened to me almost a year ago, just randomly. I don't know if I did anything to cause it to happen, not that I know of, just kind of doing my regular thing. And then when I tried to do the horizontal vertical push that YouTube put out. But yeah, if your streams ever just tank like that, like it just goes from, you know, hundreds or thousands to like 5. And some of those streams it was just me and my wife, and like on our other second accounts just checking things, and there was like it wasn't going out to anybody, but it was still showing up on my channel as like a live stream, but it wasn't being pushed to like the vertical or anything. But yeah, try that, change everything on your channel. And it sucks, but it worked for me twice. I had to do it both times, like the next day after the algorithm picked up the channel changes. It does take about 24 hours. It just started pushing it out again like normal. I don't know why it happens. It does, though. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's happening to me. And I was getting like 12 an hour or 15 an hour. And yeah, I just changed everything on the channel. Even if it was almost the same words, but just worded differently or in a different order. Changed the wording of my titles, changed my thumbnail slightly. And then, yeah, next day, poof, right back. So it's frustrating to have to do, but that worked for me. So if you ever get in that spot, give it a try. Hopefully it'll work for you. But yeah, I'm going to cut out here, guys, though. Good luck, Valhalla. Awesome knife you're working on for Luca. I think that's totally 100% a Luca knife, like I said in your stream there. I think he's going to really enjoy that. So good luck, man. I'm excited to see Luca doing knife stuff with that knife. But yeah, you guys have a good night. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you enjoyed the stimulators. We're going to finish off a bunch more so I can fill that box probably later tonight. Thanks all. Yeah, feel free to drop a sub and a like if you haven't yet. And you all have a good night, eh? Thanks kindly. Night, guys. No worries, man. Always a pleasure.